So let us now talk about the computer animation in computer graphics. So computer animation, what is animation and what is simulation? There are two things which are so much related and often being talked together, but there is a difference. Animation is making objects change over time according to the scripted actions, while simulation, it is predicting how objects are changing over time according to the physical laws. So if we have say t1 time and you want to predict at what t2 time where t2 is greater than t1 at this time how things are going to be. This is a simulation. While animation is you change the objects like the face if it is moving or say it is he is saying something. This is according to the scripted actions. So we'll see about the principles of animation, keyframe animation, and articulated figures. This is the principle of traditional animation. Disney, so squash and stretch, slow in, slow out, anticipation, exaggeration, follow through and overlapping action, timing, staging, straight ahead action and post to pose action, arcs, secondary action, and appeal. These are traditional animation principles. The squash and stretch, we'll see one by one. This is the squash and this is how it stretches. Okay, this is the squashing, this is the stretching, and so you see the difference between these two. Okay, there is not much difference, but still it creates an impression. It creates an impression. This is quite closer. This is at a difference or at a distance. So this just create a view of difference. This is slow in and slow out. You can just see that sometimes these points are together or they are far apart. These are closer. These are far apart. So with the period of time, the slowing in and slowing down is a principle of your animation. This is anticipation. You are aware that what when you are going to open it, how it is going to open, or when it is going to fall, how it is going to fall. This is anticipation. So in computer animation, there is a animation pipeline. In computer animation, there is a animation pipeline which includes the 3D modeling, which we have already seen, motion specification, then motion simulation, and of course the shading, lighting, and rendering, and then the post processing. The keyframe animation, it defines the character poses at specific time steps, which are called the keyframes. So this is one frame, this is other frame. So at a different frame, that is we call as them as a keyframe. So defining the character poses at specific time, at specific interval, time steps. These are the keyframe animation. You interpolate variables describing these keyframes to determine poses for character in between, what it is going to be. So see, this was earlier. Now you want to predict here. This is the keyframe animation or interpolation. Then in betweening, what is in betweening? This is simple linear interpolation, and there is usually not enough continuity in here because this is just a linear interpolation. Okay, interpolation, predicting values in between if 2 points are given. There is another thing in in betweening or interbetweening, that is spline interpolation, and as compared to the previous one, that is a linear interpolation. Spline interpolation may be quite good. This is keyframe k. This is the k plus one. This is the k plus two. So in betweening, this is predicted. This is using the spline interpolation. So in this spline interpolation, this may be good enough, but simply they not follow physical laws, and we have seen the animations. They generally don't follow. This is just for fun. This is the animation. So this is a spline interpolation in interbetweening or in betweening. Now the inverse kinematics or dynamics is also involved. We'll see about this in greater detail later. Now we come to the articulated figures. Articulated figures, that means the character poses described by a set of rigid bodies connected by joints. Okay, in this you have base, then you have arm, then you have hand. So these all are this is a simple scene graph, and this you can see that the character poses, these are described by set of 1 2 3 rigid 1 2 3 rigid bodies connected by these joints. These are joints. So articulated figures in this these are well suited for humanoid characters because we have various joints in our body, and in this we can start with the root with chest, left hip, right hip, up to the lower level of humanoid characters which are connected by joint, that is left wrist and right wrist. So these are the articulated figures in the software. So this is joints. These joints provide handle to moving articulated figure. Now it can move, this can move, this can move. So whichever way you want to move, you can just move the points or joints. So in this in betweening, this computes joint angles between the keyframes, and this consider the length constancy. This is the right one, and this is the wrong one. This is how it should move. This is not the way it should move. This is the computation of join angles between the various keyframes. Then walk cycle. If you see that in an articulated figure of a walk cycle, means if you're walking or cycling. So what should go first? What should go after that? For example, this is hip. You have upper leg, knee, then lower leg, ankle, then foot. So this is a type of formation that should be there. First hip rotation. Hip rotation will give rise to the lower leg, and then it will give rise to the ankle rotation. So hip rotation followed by the knee rotation followed by the ankle rotation. This is the hip joint orientation of different angle, 45 degree, minus 35 degree. See, if you are moving, this is say leg. If you move to certain angle, this is like this. Then again you go back. So this is the hip joint orientation of a simple walk cycle. And with respect to certain different angle, you can just move this joint also. See, these joints are moving. You can take it back, bring it to the original position. So there are challenges of animation also. For example, you have temporal aliasing, that is the motion blur can happen. This is the temporal aliasing example. Artifacts can occur due to the limited temporal resolution, like strobing or flickering. You can see this is the examples of uh, this strobing and flickering. And in composite weighted image, these of adjacent frames, there can be motion blur because we need to remove parts of signal under sampled in time. Because actually what is happening, frames are changing in between, some time is there. So this time lag can cause the blurring also. So animation requires the modeling, scripting, in-betweening, lighting, shading, rendering, and image processing. All these are involved. So we see the kinematics and dynamics in our animation. So we'll see the kinematics, that is, we'll consider only motion here, which is determined by the position, velocities, and accelerations. While the dynamics, this consider the underlying forces, and we'll try to compute motion from initial conditions and physics. This is an example. This is a two-link structure. This is first link. This is the second link. So two link connected by a rotational joints. You can also say that these are two links. This is one link. This is second link. L1 and L2. These two links are joined by this joint. So how they are going to move? This is a two-link structure. So the forward kinematic says the animator specifies the joint angle. That is this theta 1 and then theta 2. Okay. And then computer try to, or the computing device try to find the position of end effector, that is this x. So how this x can be computed? This is the relationship, L1 cos theta 1, L2 cos theta 1 plus theta 2, and L1 sin theta 1, L2 sin theta 1 plus theta 2. So these are the way in which you can find out the x and y with respect to these L1 and L2 and angle theta 1 and theta 1. These two are the angles. And in this forward kinematics, the joint motion can be specified also by the spline curves like this. Theta 1 can be this, theta 2 can be this with respect to time. So you see that with theta 1 at 0 will be 60 degree, theta 2 at 0 will be 250 degree. The joint motion can be specified by certain initial conditions and velocities also. This can be initial velocity. So what if the animator knows position of the end effector like this? If the animator knows what is going to be the after effect, then you can apply the inverse kinematic. That is, animator specify the end effector position, that is the x, and then compute or then try to find out these joint angle theta 2 and theta 1. And this is done by the inverse of what we have seen. This is theta and theta 2 by knowing, or if you are aware this value in advance, you can create theta 1 and theta 2. So in this inverse kinematic, end effector positions can be specified by spline curves also like this. Okay, we have just seen that. So the problem is for more complex structures. These are you have systems of equation which is usually user defined, and there are multiple solutions. You have L1, L2, L3. So now you have theta 1, theta 2, theta 3 also. So there are three unknowns, and we have just two equations. So you need to have multiple equations on this. So the solution for this complex structure is to find the best solution. That is, you want to minimize energy in the motion, and this is the non-linear optimization we can apply. So forward kinematics, as we have seen, it is by joint angles, that is, you specify conditions, and you compute positions of the end effectors. And in inverse kinematics, what you do, this is goal directed motion. Goal directed motion. So we specify goal position of the end effectors, and then we compute the condition required to achieve the goals. So the inverse kinematics provides easier specification for many animation tasks, but it is computationally more difficult. So now let us come to the dynamics. That is, we will consider the underlying forces and compute motion from initial conditions and physics. So this is the dynamics. The simulation of physics ensures the realism of motion. So there are certain space-time constraints. In animator, animator always try to constrain. It will specify the constraint. That is, what is the character's physical structure is. Is it, so say for example, it is articulated figure. What the character has to do, that is, jump from here to there with certain time t in certain time t. What other physical structures are present, that is floor to push off and land, etc. How the motion should be performed, like either to minimize energy or maximize the energy. In this space-time constraints, the computer finds the best physical motion, satisfying the constraints which the animator has implied on. So example is particle with say jet propulsion. So xt is a position of particle at say time t. Ft is the force of jet propulsion at time t. So the particle's equation of motion will be given by this: mx double dash minus f minus mg equal to 0. So suppose we want to move this a to b, position a to b, and t0 to t1. So with minimum jet fuel, this can be, we want to minimize t0 to t1 ft square dt. This is subject to, as we know that at t0 it is xt0 is equal to a and xt1 equal to b. Okay, so these are the way in which we are going to compute the things. So this is the discretized time steps. You know how to compute the discretized or time steps. X dash will be xi minus 1 by. This is all from your calculus. X double dash, that is this single dimension, single derivative, double derivative. You have xi plus 1 minus 2 xi plus xi minus 1 h square. And in the previous equation, if you place here, you'll get the equation like this, and then you can minimize the fi square where you have these conditions. So in space-time constraint, we solve with the iterative optimization methods. In this space-time constraint, the advantages are you have free animator, you just free animator from having to specify details of physically realistic motion with spline curves. And this is easy to vary motions due to new parameters and new constraints. So the challenges, of course, are specifying the constraints and objective functions and avoiding the local minima during the optimization. So this is adapting motion with respect to the space-time constraint. This is the original jump. This is the heavier base. You have heavier base here. And you can also see that how to adapt to motion if this is the hurdle. Okay. This is the ski jump, adapting motion of ski jump. So then comes the editing motion also. You can edit the motion. This is the original, this is the adapted. Okay. And I can show you the animation, but it is not, let us see the theory first. So this is again morphing the motion. Again, we have a video on that. Female character morphs into smaller character during her spine. This is also a morphing motion under space-time constraint. So the advantages we have already seen, and the challenges also like this. So in dynamics, there are other physical simulations also, like you have hot gases and cloth like this. So rigid bodies can be there, soft bodies, cloth, liquid, gases like this. These are physical simulations. So in kinematics, you have forward kinematics and inverse kinematics. In dynamics, we have space-time constraint and all other physical simulations. So in kinematics, in forward kinematics, animators specify the joints and compute end effectors. In inverse kinematics, animators specify end effectors and solve for the joints. This is easier, this is harder. In dynamic space-time constraint, animators specify structure and constraint and solve for motion. Also, other physical simulations are always there. So this is just a brief idea of the in how computer graphics will deal with the animation. For greater detail, you really need to go to the book and look for it. Thank you so much. Take care.